if I may share something just briefly that just really touched me before the open talk began. Um, like everybody else, I sometimes have a habit of spinning in my negativity, spinning in my oldness, and it always amazes and inspires me how close the newness really is to us.
Mm-hmm.
All the
Mm-hmm.
time, all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so beautiful. It's just like we think we are that, and we're just not that at all.
Exactly.
And if we just make a little space for the fact that we're not right and all these negative things we think, the
Yes.
newness is just right there to kiss us. It's just
Yes.
so beautiful.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
It's a blessing.
Mm.
Just wanted to get that out. For me, for the group, for everybody. But anyway, with that spirit in mind, let's talk about this beautiful walk down the energy road, the energy center road that you've been taking us on lately. We just we're also fascinated and touched and amazed and just curious and about this new way that you're guiding us. And I think an open talk would be really, really lovely. So that you could explain a little bit more what's going on and what this means. And I have so many questions, and I'm sure you're just going to lead me where it needs to go. But I just thought I'd start off with just to the degree that you feel is appropriate. Could you maybe just describe? Well, first of all, I know that there's 7 energy centers, but you've really been focusing a lot on the lower 3. So I was hoping to start there at those lower 3 and have you describe what each one of them is, what they embody. If it matters, maybe you could even tell us where in the body they're generally located, physically, or whether or not that matters, and just sort of introduce us to those 3 centers and what they contain.
Yeah, first of all, it's all about how open we are. It's like I have mentioned earlier talks. It's like I ask, I want to move forward. I want to move from wherever I was before. I just wanted to move forward from that level or from that area. It's like, so then you are open to what is new coming. So this new is coming to me every day kind of way, new. But when you are available to the new, yes, and then this is how I started to address everyone, like different ways, different approach, as I just reading books or hearing from others, or others are reading books, or sharing whatever, or even wherever, then it comes from every angle. But when this information comes from every angle, it's like I always allow it to go inside of me. Then so I can, it's like, so then my own whole beingness understands what it means. It's not about I just grab the information and then I just say, okay, this is the information I heard. It can be true, or it's not like that. It's like whatever able to move inward me according to my own openness. So then I can share with the group, because then I become that, then it's easier for me to address others. So even before the way I was addressing the group was from my own personal knowing, the way I was moving, the way I was brought up, like from my culture, from my mm, way of beingness, and then my teacher, and then I read many books in that way. It's like so everything was according to that, what I integrated inside of me. I was just sharing that. So now something new. It's like the way I saw that, it's like something new is always has a freshness to it. It's not anything has changed. It's like when something is new and then everybody's like eyes are like opening. Everybody's more alive into it. And then, yeah, so then I just read in the book more about these centers. It's like we always know all these centers, but I never pay much attention to these centers. And because people used to share their experiences, their some center Kundalini opened up or something. So I never used to recommend them to open your centers. Because it's like when forcefully person is opening their center, it's dangerous. And now the group I am with, all the years, I was really helping them to be so open to see own self, open to see on the way you said about even negativities or where they are stuck, where they are, what their weaknesses are, right? So how they are stuck in their childhood traumas, right? Strong belief systems, wherever they're coming from. So I always been addressing the group personal ways, very personal guidance I was providing. So the group is much grounded now. They are very familiar what they are time to time has been experiencing. And they know all about their inner weaknesses, ego parts, how the ego grabs everything, how the control is. Control grabs everything, control wants to control everything. So it's like people, they are so grounded now in this. So now if you just address them as a centers, they are kind of ripened already. And when I address them about the centers, it's a safe for them. It's not like shocking, surprising, or they're unconscious about it. If the person is unconscious about their own personal stuff, center opens up any, like some people, they experience the third eye opening or their Kundalini opening, whatever they call it. And then it shocks the whole system. They don't know where it's coming from. And in the group, everybody knows where it's coming from. It's me, right? So they're more aware of themselves.
I see.
Yeah. So when they're aware of themselves, and then it's easier for me to address them now more precise way. Okay, now we have centers in the body. And it makes more sense to me, and then it'll make more sense to the other people. So then I started to introduce the lower centers again first, because this is where everybody is stuck. Everybody wants to move toward the higher centers, But if you are tied with the lower centers, they won't let you move beyond, right? So even before I introducing everyone toward these lower centers, I started to introduce people more toward this main center, which I always in love with and always know that the quality, the higher qualities of that center is, which is the heart. It's from day one. I
Yeah.
know this, but I knew this very simple way, but I had no mind intelligence to it, toward this heart center. I used to feel like if the person is not connected with the heart, there is no possibility for the person to attain this.
Yeah.
So more and more, I'm trying to ground people again and again. It's more like an everyday kind of way in the heart first. So re-energizing the heart, because how we just go so much in this not feeling the heart anymore. It's like not energizing the heart anymore. So now I just kind of learning we need to energize the heart every day kind of way. So if we are grounded in our heart, and is easier to deal with the lower centers.
Yeah, you've been leading us to that aspect for years of the heart. Heart,
Yes.
always the heart.
Always the heart. Because I saw like how people, they are so stuck in the mind.
Yeah.
They're trying, their information, everything is just the mind level. And in the mind level, they are free, the mind level, they are stuck. Mind level, they know everything, mind level, they don't know anything. Okay. So that's why it's important for me to address everyone again and again, different way now, to breathe in your heart. It's like I was doing it so naturally, I wasn't even conscious of it before.
Right. That you were doing something at all.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking this is a doing.
Right. Right.
Yeah, or I still don't see it's a doing, but when you address other people, of course, in the beginning, it is like a doing. You have to address, you have to make
Yeah.
them really conscious of their own breathing, conscious of their heart. So every way it is to begin with, it's a little doing, but then slowly the doing drops and then more stability and more connection arises.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah. So now we're talking about the centers. The centers, the lower centers is like sexuality, which is just we are born with to begin with, right? And then it's a little bit above the underneath the navel area. There's another center where we are holding our weaknesses. It's like I just kind of wrote
Mhm.
what we are holding is like in there is like a guilt, shame,
Mhm.
like a weaknesses, um, self-pity, like,
What about more aggressive things like anger? Is that more in the sexuality, or is that more in the second one?
it's just like that. That is in the second one.
Okay, so all the
Yeah.
weaknesses really are there.
All weaknesses in the second center. And then at the navel area is a third one, a little bit around the navel area, like can be a little bit above the navel area,
Okay.
where we are, like where we have the ego. We have a ego, we have a control, we have impatience. So in the sexuality is the more person is holding on to this. It's like you know how it can be a child molestation kind of a way person is holding on to it.
Mhm.
Person can be holding on to obsession,
Mhm.
anger, right? So when person is really in this sexual center holding on to anything, it's just like then and the belief system about the confusion in the sexual center about the sexuality. Like most of us, the way we brought up, we don't understand anything about our sexuality. We are born with it, but it can be strongly present in our bodies. And if it's strongly present, the person does not know what to do with it from the childhood. So the energies are locked in these three centers, right? So if in the sexual center there is a confusion, person does not know what to do with it, or suffering, controlling, or it's a shame. It should not be there. And also, according to spirituality, religious way, it's not good
Mhm.
to be in there. But we don't really show what it means, what is not good about it. It's like if you're stuck in that lower level, that means it's just like it's reusing us. It's just keeping us there in the lower level. The lower level does not mean bad. It's like this creativity, like this reproducing is happening. We call it at the lower level, unconsciously.
Mhm.
So now if we want to wake up, if we want to move beyond that center, we need to wake up first in that center. So this energy begin to unlock and it begins to move upward toward our higher centers. First is again is your heart center, and then the other three centers, like I don't really give them really too much name to it, but it can be your throat center,
Mhm.
which it has many other parts to it, and then your third eye center, and then I call it beyond. Yeah. So when this energy begins to move upward, and then the other centers, they don't hold that much if we are conscious of these lower centers. They're supporting the higher. If we are stuck in the lower centers, and if the person's, for example, the third eye is open and the person is stuck in the lower level though. So even their third eye is open, their energy is flowing back toward the lower. They're still stuck in the lower level.
So if you're stuck in a certain level, are you saying that that level can sort of suck the energy from the other levels?
Yes, and also every belief is toward the lower level. Its lower level is like a reproduction, re-energizing the lower levels.
I mean, every
Belief
belief.
system, yeah, belief system. It keeps us running the same game.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's why it's like if we are just pushing the person to open the third eye, it means nothing to the person. It can make person worse. Because person can see more, but stuck in the lower level.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's why from day one, for me, to earn the purity, I always used to point out toward the lower three centers and the heart center.
Mm.
And to me, the way I was before, the other centers, they're not that important, because if you're unplugging all your energy from the lower levels and your heart has all the qualities you relate with, that itself takes you to the higher.
And it almost takes care of itself.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's interesting you're saying this about the energy, because it's something I didn't understand before. And I'll just share something briefly that happened this morning that resonates with what you shared. Woke up at around 4:30 and I just sat on the couch and was breathing into my heart and feeling the lower levels. And there was so much in all of them. I was like, wow, there's so much of my energy is trapped in these lower levels. But I felt it like rise to my heart and keep going, like you were guiding us to. And then it was so interesting because those levels didn't have as much energy because the energy rose, and it almost felt like not dead, but so still and so less energy in those areas. And it was almost like, is this bad? Am I supposed to feel energy there? But what you're saying is no, the energy's trapped there and it needs to come up.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to get used to if we're lucky enough to let that energy come up, we have to get used to that new feeling down there, which won't be quite as juicy, but won't be quite as energetic.
Yes. It's just like in the beginning, the energy can be dense energy,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the density is what is helping us to roll around in this creative level, like, the consciousness itself. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
but this does not mean there is nothing else is there. From that, when we are waking up, what we're gonna experience first is a dense state. And then what we're gonna slowly from the dense state, we can begin to experience this energy level, right? But if you're not grabbing anything from the dense state to energy state, and then the further fineness, the finer than energy, we able to relate with, which is not a nothing. It's not like a nothing. We call it nothing because it's other than these two levels: dense energy to fine energy to finer, much finer. The finer we are, and this is the finer way we are relating, and that brings the harmony in our system back. So then our living is more in the harmony.
It's funny you said harmony, because I was going to ask you, can these energies, you keep saying the word creativity, can these energies be used in artistic pursuits and painting, music, and creating art of all sorts? I've heard so many times that you can channel your sexual energy for artistic and creative purposes, but it was never explained how that is.
Yes, it's like sometimes the people, they fear, like the fear is also the biggest weaknesses per person can be held with when these energy can arise, right?
Mhm.
But when these energies are arising, it's not you losing your creativity. In a way, you are in the more creativity, but you are not It's not your weakness.
Mm.
Before it's your weakness, you're stuck there. There's no freedom. There's no freedom to it. We think we are free. We think what we want, we get it. But it's the same energy speaking to you itself, because it wants to stay in the same cycle. So that's why whenever we want to wake up, we want to move beyond our personalness, and then the lower three levels, they are threatened by your decision.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's why when I always says there is a longing in your heart. When there is a longing in your heart, it's like you're not threatening these levels that way, the way you can just say, okay, I want to get rid of these levels now.
Yeah, I'm starting to think of it more as not so much getting rid of stuff, but bringing them back home, untying the knots of confusion that twisted them into darkness in the first place, that they aren't dark, that there was a misunderstanding that made them dark, but they themselves are just energy.
Yes, yes, yes. Because the second thing is like, all the years, I'm helping the person to see the way they see things as is. For example, they see their weakness, and I ask them to see it as is,
Mhm.
right? Because we don't see things as is.
No.
Anger opens up, frustrations opens up, and the person starts to roll around in it.
Yes.
When we roll around, we're energizing the same thing, what we want to move beyond from.
Yes, yes, yes. Guilty.
Yeah, yeah,
I still think as is one of the most mind-blowing concepts you've taught us after all this time. I still like it's so beyond the person to truly be as is when looking at oneself. It's so simple and it's so seemingly impossible.
yeah, yeah. Because many times, different times, I ask person to accept. But acceptance is because it's a kind of old word. The person says, okay, I have accepted it, but
Yeah,
it's still there.
yeah.
Right.
It's like a
When you
game.
know, yeah, when you know, you need to see whatever you see as it is. You don't need to go anywhere from this. Because as is means you are more still. You're not putting any pressure on anything. So you beginning to calm down. And as is like, it just begins from 1 degree to unlimited way.
Yeah.
It depends on person's progress. So when we see the things as they are, and then it's like your fight is over with the negativities, with the aggressiveness, with your if you can even see your ego part, you can see your ego as it's going to drop.
Yeah, I really like the way that you say don't move from there or something. It's just like when we talk in the superficial world or the Western world anyway, I don't know how it is on the East about accepting something. Oh yeah, I'm mean sometimes. I accept that about myself. It's almost like putting it on a shelf and giving it a label. It's like a book on your shelf. But you're
Yeah,
talking about almost the way I think about what you're talking about is like, here's the thing we're judging or the thing we don't like. You're just staring at it like forever kind of way. It's just like sitting in your house in your best chair. It's your guest forever and ever and ever. It's like it's so comfortable with it that you don't even, it's almost like it's not there because don't even mind anymore, which is so richer and so different than the way we think about acceptance, which comparatively is incredibly superficial.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like a slowly, slowly when you're able to see as is to begin with, and then it's like you changing.
Yeah, right. Not it, you.
Not yeah, what you are.
Yeah.
It's just like when you changing, then what you see, whichever way you see, it just changes. It's like a slowly, slowly, if you changing, and then you in touch with your own inner compassion, love, right? Joy. And you just see that this is same things turning into same thing what you are experiencing.
Mm.
So that's why the world does not change. We need to change.
Mm.
But how we change? Just like this. Just begin to see whatever appears in your own self as is.
It's a beautiful invitation to stillness.
Hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because there's so
Because
much. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, because it's just the moment we just disturb this still water,
Right.
it's like then we have to wait it to calm down again, kind of thing. And sometimes the person is like, it's too much in aggression, so much disturbing.
Mm-hmm.
And just see that how long for this person to earn back this as isness. Because then
Yeah.
person also goes around with it like, oh, person think, okay, this has to calm down. Person doesn't see it. I am the one creating more waves to it.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
So
so much
these,
scrambling.
yeah, and
That's the
yeah,
word that comes, like scrambling, just like you just try to
yeah,
get away, try to attack it, just scramble, scramble, scramble.
yeah. And then person says, okay, I can fix it. I can do it. Right? Yeah, I can try my best to attain this or something. Yeah.
And it's actually great to bring the concepts of the as is with the energy centers, with the lower three, and just sort of, because that's where it's got to start. Just see them, let the energy rise, and don't do anything at all. Just let is the word that you keep telling us. Don't do,
Yeah.
but let.
Yeah. Yeah. Because sometimes a person's like on what we call is the baggage, right? It's a heavy little bit. It's just a more to it. But this does not mean it's impossible. The person does not need to give up.
Mm-hmm.
Give up means you're just letting yourself get away with whatever you wanted. It's not what you wanted, it's what these centers wanted.
Mm. Letting yourself being bullied at school or something.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But that it's just like it's very tricky stuff. It's like you easily being fooled. You think you are better, you're free, but you don't see it. You are in the same cycling, the same oldness. You just feel better. This doesn't mean you are in the newness.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
That's some of the trickiest stuff. Is like I feel good. I feel even spiritually good. I feel open. I feel loving. I'm in the, you call it the flowering.
mm-hmm.
It's the ego grabs that so tricky way. So it's such a tricky way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's mine, and look at what I've done, and look at where I am, and I am somewhere, and it just
Yeah,
then you're
yeah,
right back in your centers again.
yeah. That this is what I experienced at the beginning, how easily the ego was grabbing whatever the opening person was experiencing. It was so much like just, it's just like it wants to just fly over, like, I got it.
Mhm.
Then nobody was able to stop that ego when ego takes over, because the other three centers are so alive. It's like the person is so plugged into the other three centers. And ego itself is the one of it, right?
Mhm.
So itself, these three centers are speaking to own self. I got it, right?
Mhm.
And then it's hard to convince that person. It's just your ego took over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're better at identifying that now after all this time of being with you. And I know for me, it just feels like I'm too happy. It's almost like suspicious. Like I feel like I'm flying. I feel like I'm floating. Like there's something's ungrounded here.
Yeah.
Because you can't see it directly always because it's so hidden. But you start to know by the way that you're feeling, you can sort of map out that center might be acting up and might be grabbing something.
Yeah. 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 Because you know how we always talk about like the person really wants to be free from this consciousness itself. We
Mhm.
call it this a cycle of birth and death. The person really wants to be free from this, but doesn't want to pay the cost. I want to free. I want to be free. I want to be free. Right? Yeah. And we discovered how many eyes are there. They want to. They have their own agenda, own home, own world. We cannot be free like that. Doesn't matter how desperate we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a really simple level, what you just said kind of made me realize that we're sort of playing this game where, okay, so I have a name, I have an identity, right? I want to be beyond this painful cycle of birth and death. I want to give that up. Well, the first thing I need to give up is my name and my identity. I need to become no one. And then it's like, well, whoa, hold on. I don't know about that. And then there's the game. It's like, you almost want to, you don't understand that the first thing that has to go is you, not the cycle.
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause that's what I'm more pointing out is like to become no one,
Right.
right? It's like this is the most threatening part of the person experience. I want freedom, but I don't want to become no one.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I used to use the word, you just you just die in this. Whatever you experience, you need to die in that. Person gets scared again. I want to be free, but I don't want to die. I want to be free, but I don't want to become no one. Right? So from here we need to see a trick. Who is asking, I want to be free?
It's a great question.
Yeah. And at the same time, does not want to die.
It's almost like it, it's almost like what the real honest question or the desire is. I want to be free from the stuff that I want to be free from. I don't like the suffering. I don't like the pain. I just want the pleasure. It's almost like if you really ask the real truth, that's really probably more honest.
Yeah. Because that's why the longing comes from the heart. That is our pure center. And when there is a longing, you don't know what it means. Very rare people, they're able to relate with their longing. Because most of the people, their journey is about I want to be free.
Mm. Yeah, it's rare and it's hard and it's confusing and unsettling. I mean, I've only started to touch. I don't even know if this is true, but I feel like the last week I've touched it a little bit more deeply than I have before, and it's like there's just nowhere to go. And what I've felt in me is just like, okay, I have to give up all of this. Like, be willing to. It's not in a literal sort of way, but my friendships, all the things I've fought for, all the things that I believe that I am, all of my specialness, all of the specialness, which there's so much specialness,
Yeah,
secret way and not so secret
exactly.
way.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a tremendous, it is the ultimate sacrifice.
Yes, but at the same time, what did you earning is also beyond that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right, right,
yeah.
right,
So, but what is beyond is like we constantly denying it. We saying it's nothing.
right.
It's like anything is like we can't relate with. We just deny it. It's just nothing.
Right.
But yes, it's nothing. But it's not like this way nothing.
Right.
It's like if we are present in this nothing, if you're being present in this no one, then slowly be capable to receive this knowledge, this harmony.
I enjoy.
Yes, it just it's like we're letting it to join in us. Sometimes the people they are moved moved beyond from their own personalness, but they're still struggling. They don't know how to live this way, how to be in that, because the mind can't relate with it.
So that's interesting to me. So you're saying some people can move beyond, but they can't stay connected or grounded to it because they're still struggling with some aspect of it.
Yes, because it's not something you, if you point out the solid thing, it's easier to relate with.
Mhm.
If you if the solidness is being removed, what is left? You're having a hard time to relate with because
Mhm.
your mind instant we're gonna say it's nothing.
Mhm. Mhm. Right. So they move beyond, they don't relate to that beyondness, and then they get confused.
Yeah, yeah. Mind goes into the confusion again and again
Mhm.
because it cannot relate with this. What it's like what we are like what is more than this mind, put it this way, right? Mind only can relate with its own familiarity, own familiar, what is feelable, touchable, right? Even
Right.
blissful, whatever is, it's like it can relate with it, but
Mhm.
it cannot relate when it's nothing. So if
Mhm.
we are turning, giving ourself a permission to the nothing, I I want to become a nothing, no one, and then our face turned that way. If I
Mhm.
want to be free, it's different than becoming no one.
You mean free in like the superficial sort of way?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But
Free
person
of
doesn't think that is superficial. Person says, yes, this is
mm,
what my quest is. This is what I want.
yeah, yes, I see. Yeah, it's tricky, very
Yeah,
tricky.
yeah.
And then the spirituality, the Western spirituality doesn't help because it sort of like tells us, yeah, you can be free of all this pain, embrace your joy, manifest your wealth or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. It's like in that area, in this self-contained consciousness,
Mm,
it's like we can live whichever way we want to in a way. We have a powers we can use, we can channel, because we want to maintain that.
that's interesting. So I almost hear you saying, yes, that to some degree that is possible, but that's a choice and there's a limitedness to that as
Hmm.
well.
Hmm. Hmm.
I see.
Yeah. It's like once our face is truly toward ourselves, toward what this longing means. And
Mm,
then, for example, the person has the power to heal own self, has a grace in it. Because person doesn't want to be stuck in this, what is coming in the way, even unhealthiness or, the diseases or, all the coming in the way, doesn't want to waste our own time into it, right? So
mm,
it's a great deal to that being healed. But if I want, or I want to heal, it's only one area. It's only one I.
mhm,
So being in that is whatever the abilities, capabilities, powers is for the higher. It's blissful.
mm. So you're saying you're capable of more or in a more complete way when it's for the nothingness, the no oneness, the beyondness, the higher. When you're healing for that reason, it could be much more full and complete.
Because it's a moving toward the higher.
Mm,
It's a helping.
mm,
When the attention is a true toward the higher, then everything is like there's a unlimited way, like this whatever it can support this is available to us.
mm,
Same things for becoming person's weaknesses, the same things capable to support the person to move toward the higher.
Well, it makes sense given these energy centers. It's almost like the more weaknesses you have, the more trapped energy there is, the more potential you have for healing once you bring that back. It's like there's a whole treasure trove of beautiful
Mhm.
energy to bring
Mhm.
home that you wouldn't have if you didn't have a person.
Yeah. So it has to arise upward, has to move toward
Mm-hmm.
your heart, toward the higher.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes keep going, right?
Yeah. So this is what we are practicing, even in the in-person satsangs
Mm-hmm.
and as a group, and this energy is arising so much, such a beautiful way, but higher way. There's
Mm-hmm.
no personalness attached to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it seems that in different situations at different times, there's no rules. The energy could go up or down or whatever. Like I was sitting this morning and I felt the lower levels coming up, but I felt my brain energy wanting to come down, and everything was sort of converging at the heart level. whereas at other times I feel differently, like everything just goes up or the head energy
Mhm,
comes down. But sometimes it almost felt like in that moment this morning, it was like everything just needed to come, depending on where it was located, almost come home to the heart sort of thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because it's like I mean, we all are so much here in the West, especially so here. And yet we have all this stuff going on down below that we don't want to face. So there is so much trapped energy below and above our heart.
Mhm, mhm,
And we
mhm,
ignore our heart.
mhm, mhm. So even like for example, I'm pointing out toward the sexual energy center.
Mhm.
Sometimes the person says, "Okay, I don't feel my sexuality," or 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 if I'm just facing that way, and then the other stuff comes up, right?
Which other
Confusion,
stuff? Oh,
confusion comes up. My anger comes up. My,
mm,
the all the weaknesses, it just comes up.
mm,
Jealousy comes up. It's like whatever comes up,
mm,
and the person's again gets overwhelmed by it. It says, "Okay, now I'm there, but this stuff is coming up, not my sexual energy coming up."
mm,
So now you see that the sexual energy is buried underneath all the stuff, though.
mm. Yes. So you really have to face so much more than you thought you would when you say the words sexual energy. There could be anything that's buried under.
Yeah, yeah.
And we do probably do a lot of burying of our sexual energy because we're told in so many ways that it's inappropriate or bad or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
embarrassing,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
at least in this culture.
Yes, every culture, this is not acceptable, even though we're born from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we consciously doesn't want to address it.
Yeah, it's interesting that we're born out of so, out of something about which there's so much associated societal shame. It almost reminds me of the Christian concept of original sin, which is that you're just born in sin. It's almost like feels like the original sin is the shame of sexuality itself. I mean, that's what creates every single one of us is sexuality on a very simple biological level. And yet
Mm-hmm.
there's so much shame around that sexuality. It's almost like we're born out of shame and into shame on a very
Exactly.
huge
Yeah,
cultural planetary level.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I wonder if that's why there's just so much universal self-hatred in all of us.
Yes, yes. This is a good one. We just want to cover it. We don't want to even know how this child is being born. We don't want to
Yeah.
address it. We don't even want to address ourselves.
Yeah,
We
it's
don't want to
true.
even face it. We don't want to face it. What we are.
Yeah, on the simplest level, I remember having these thoughts of like being a kid and being like, "Oh, John and Sally had a baby," just sort of thinking, "Oh, that means they had sex with each other," and it's like, "Oh," like I wouldn't say that, but we just think, "Oh, you had a child." It's like, "Oh no, you had sex and that made the baby." Like we kind of keep the dirty part away from the beautiful part, and yet
Mhm.
we made these words up, dirty and beautiful. Having a child is the most beautiful thing in the world, and having sex is like the dirtiest thing in the world. They're the same thing. Like we're so
Yeah,
lost.
yeah. So that's why even if we want to unlock it, if we just slow down what you're even talking about now about sex and having baby
Mhm.
together, it's like just slow down. We need to so slow down to just it can be unveiled. So it can be unveiled in ourselves. Because the thing is not being unveiled because we're super fast. Somebody's having a baby, beautiful thing. That's it. Now we're
Mm,
just looking forward for the baby to see.
mm,
Such a beautiful, precious baby, right? But then everything else is ignored.
mm.
So we need to slow down to unlock this energy. So much is we don't want to see.
As you're slowing me down, I'm seeing this huge twist inside myself. Huge twist of sexuality and creativity and dark and light and just a huge confusion or misunderstanding of something.
So more we slow down, more we just beginning to relate with our sexuality. It's like first is slow down, slow down, slow down. Because we don't want to be the secret to be out. It's not a secret about the sexuality. We don't want to know what we are.
Like we're scared of what we'll find or something.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting. There's a whole spectrum to this sexuality. I mean, there's different frequencies of it. It's like there's this animalistic, I just want to take your body and use it for pleasure. That's the one level. And then on the very opposite level, there's the ultimate of universal creation and all these degrees in between.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So much darkness. It's like a rainbow of darkness and light and medium and all together. And
Yeah.
I'm just seeing it now more as like this whole huge multi-level
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Yeah. Because now, as a human being, you're able to relate with all of it. It's very meaningful what you're able to open into it.
Yeah, I was starting to touch that. We get stuck in one of the frequencies and we don't see the whole spectrum.
Yeah. Because it's like we're holding, as a human being, is the taste of it, everything else. The whole spectrum, the way you're describing, like in the animals, even in this whole universe, it's a creativity is like this way. But we don't want to address it because we're scared.
What are we scared of exactly?
It's like for example, you mentioned about the animal, right?
Mm-hmm.
The sexuality as creativity, but as a human being, we it's if you are in the programmed way, we are just programmed. Animals are programmed, birds are programmed,
Mm-hmm.
the worms, the nature is a programmed, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a programmed way, it's just moving itself. There's no freedom to it. If you find out I am programmed by this program, it's no longer beautiful to you.
I see. It feels sort of like a machine or something.
Yeah, it's like we see the animals. It's like give birth to the little cub or something. It's so beautiful, the chick or all that. It's so beautiful. But we see outside, but we see inside, and ourself is scary. Because now you shining the light on this itself to this consciousness. And then you see the whole spectrum of it. It's this program. I am in the program. And then we don't like that. We don't like to discover who we are. And that is even one part of it. We haven't discovered the other part.
You mean the higher part?
No, we're talking about the sexuality. We
Yeah.
need to slow down.
Right.
Yeah. It's like it's like how quickly we're covering the baby's born, or the woman is pregnant. It's a beautiful thing. We are just admiring. Like in old days, even that used to be covered till the baby's actually born,
Mm.
right? Because it was a kind of shame.
Mm.
So, and now we're slowing down in this process of the sexuality, the sex, and the chemicals. And then we are more closer to our own, what is in the chemicals. Okay. So slowly, slowly, more we're going closer. And the secret is being revealed.
It's interesting that you talk about nature being programmed, which I get that on a level, but it's so funny when you think about going for a walk in the woods and the birds are chirping. It feels opposite of programmed. It feels so free. It's like because it's more free than us, actually. It's more free than how most humans live, but it's still, what you're saying is even that's programmed. And it is, a tree is going to be a tree, a bird's going to be a bird. They're going to do what they're programmed to do. And when you say the word chemicals, I'm almost overwhelmed. Like I don't even know what I'm opening up to. It's almost too big for me to open up to it, because there's like sperm and egg and the physical act of sex, and then the love that can come with that, and relationships and shame and intimacy and all the weird things about boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, wives, relationships, and then society and making a baby and love and creation. It just goes on and on and on. It's almost like everything.
Mhm.
Almost feels like no matter how much you open, you can't see it all because it's so everything.
Yeah.
And it's like we only relate to such a small frequency of that spectrum with our human sexuality most of the time, most of us. And now I see more clearly what they mean about the sexual energy and even the creativity. It's sort of like even Beethoven writes a symphony of music. It's the same thing. It's this urge to urge to make something, to create something, to do something, to and the word, the calm that you talk about sometimes, the Punjabi word calm, it almost seems in this moment that there's different frequencies of calm.
Yes, yes. That's what I was talking about. It's not only about just a sex,
Yeah.
but many other things. It's like it's the same. It's like it's a calm.
Yeah. There could be higher levels too, like building a beautiful city where people can be happy, or making a beautiful piece of poetry, or something. It's not always, it has different levels, but it does come from the same spark or urge or creative impulse, for lack of a better word.
But it's not a bad thing what you are opening into. It's a good thing what you're opening into. And just in the beginning is a little bit uncomfortable, scary.
Well, it's just so huge. I mean, usually when I open, I
Yeah.
can sort of open up into whatever it is, okay, but it just seems like it's, no matter how much I open it, I know I'm not seeing it all. I
Yeah.
just,
Yeah. Because many words you used it even in this when I was saying, I wasn't aware of it.
mm,
Because our mind is keep on opening up in this walk.
mhm.
Our brain is keep on opening up every day more and more and more as we are in the more.
Mm.
But as you're saying, we are kind of scared from this more.
Yeah, it's like sort of like shockingly overwhelming. I can't even put my finger on why.
Yeah.
It's scary, or it's just,
Yeah.
it's more just like, whoa,
Yeah.
it's so big.
Yeah. But the goodness as a human being is like just see that how much the one can be aware of, even this moment,
Mhm.
right? How much we becoming conscious of this where we were unconscious before.
Yeah, no, that is definitely a blessing.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why we call it human. As being human being is like this is a higher form. We have so much responsibility. The responsibility is like this way that how we are unfolding ourselves. Unfolding means we are letting this energy to be released, right? Because why we call it like we're only using little percentage of this brain. So just see that, isn't it? Your brain is opening even more now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely feels,
And it's scary to open to the more though. It's scary. The first thing we don't even know the door's closed already.
mhm.
Yeah. Unless something is poking us to open the door.
Yeah, I mean, it goes, I'm stretching now all the way back to the beginning, sort of like the Big Bang, the creation of the universe. That's the first calm is right there. And this little
Mm-hmm.
point in space said, I want to be more, and just exploded into all of these stars and planets and spaciousness and light. And then all the laws of physics and mathematics and chemistry get created from that moment. And there's all these
Yeah.
intellectual things that manifest in actual life itself. It just spills out. And we're part of that. We're from that. So of course we have that urge, that calm urge of ourselves, and our little version of Big
Mm-hmm.
Bang is just make a baby or have sex or whatever, or make a song, and then just goes on and
Yes.
on.
Yes. Yes.
It almost feels like there's this, it almost feels right now that there's only really two things in the whole universe. There's calm and there's returning. And you almost think of a breath, inhale, exhale, or the universe, the Big Bang, the universe expands, contracts.
Mm.
So there's creation and there's coming back home again. And we create so much unconsciously that 99% of your guidance is the coming home part, because it's almost like we're imbalanced and creating all of this creating, but it's really like we all have calm and return, create, rest. On a really simple level, I have a feeling you could break everything, every single action or thought into those two categories in a strange way. And it is a sort of this idea of this duality, this two thing, this calm and this returning is very instinctive and natural in the human. I mean, when they say that the first forms of music were very much call and response. They call it call and response. The leader goes da 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 da, and the group goes da 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 da. They're talking to each other with rhythm, with music, but it's really just calm, return, voice, echo. When you hear your echo in a voice, cliff, the same thing. There's this thing that completes itself by coming back home again, but calm has to happen first. The creation has to happen first so that you have something to come back to.
Yeah.
Which is why this person that so many of us hate so much is actually beautiful. It's just part one. Person's just part one. Unfolding it is part two. But you need something to return back to in order to return back. So without the calm, there would be no returning.
Yeah. It's like there's no birth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can you die? There's nothing to die from.
Yeah.
Kind of mind blowing. I just feel like it keeps expanding and expanding, and inside me, it's like this. Yeah, it kind of makes the struggles more okay, because we forget that another aspect of this duality is the closing and the opening. Like, you can't open if you don't close. Nobody likes to close. Nobody wants to be in the pain or the anger, the frustration, the self-hatred, but we forget that that's just part one. As much as it's not pleasurable or fun to experience that, it's really helpful to remember that it's not all of it. It's something that's there. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be needed, though, because we need that to open up in and to have the gratitude.
Yeah. Just see that, like if you just even slow down, even in this, it's like the moment we touch the sexuality, it's like the moment it was like so much to open up. There was such a mistrust in that area, like, or doubt or uncomfortableness, right? So the moment you open, and there was so much to discover, right? But you just have to step into that where you feel this threat. And that is the doorway to discover so much more. What is discover so much more means is opening our brain. We are in the more now. When we are in the more, we see more, we experience more, right? And then I'm not living according to my programmed way now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because programmed way was one thing at a time, one lifetime, one thing. Yeah. So now as we are discovering more, and we are already more than the programmed way.
Mhm. Yeah, and the minute we see our programming, we start to move
Already
beyond
moved
it.
beyond that programmed way. Yeah.
Yeah, because like who's seeing it? It's like,
Mhm.
who's the real I behind the
Yeah.
curtain?
Yeah.
Who is this aware? Who is this awareness?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is the sort of like the flip side of becoming nobody or no one. When you think in the personal way, becoming nobody means losing all of this stuff, but it's really gaining the universe.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's what we really are. That's our birthright. We were born to return.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But how much capacity we have is also mind blowing. It's just like
Yeah,
just even from this, what you just discovered.
yeah. No, it's true. We think we're so. It starts with the very first thing I shared about my own negativity and realizing that the newness is just a step away, just like a hair's breadth away. We really believe not only in the oldness, but we believe in our limitedness. So we think we're so very limited.
Yeah.
We just have no idea.
Yeah.
It just takes a little bit of courage.
Yes. 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 It's like also need a courage, and as well this, as we have developed this group, through this
Yeah.
pandemic way, we had to just had the Zoom satsangs, but now we are open to the in-person satsang in a little bit bigger ways, right?
Mhm.
Open ways. It's just like this energy as well is helping us to. It's like a more, there is a energy, but pure energy, not a dense energy, pure energy. It's like a shining the light upon us.
Yeah, I had a powerful experience of exactly what you're
Yes.
talking about on Thursday when I've had I've had a very long week with not a lot of sleep and a lot of to-do lists, and I was in the in-person satsang and couldn't even open my eyes. I was like, how am I going to make it through? And I was just like yawning, exhausted, and within 20 minutes I was like wide open, energy running through me, completely attentive, and I know it was the group that lifted me up.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I had nothing.
Yeah. 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 That's why this group is important for us if we
Mhm.
really, really broadly wants to move.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's not only about one thing. It's not about, okay, I'm there, I'm okay, I don't suffer, I like this state of beingness. That's it. It's not only like that. There is so much is available to us. so much. Just stay with this, even that my brain needs to open more. It needs to hear more. Many things you said, it's like I'm hearing now more,
Mhm.
right? Before we don't hear.
Yeah.
It's so limited. Because if we are in only in a programmed way, we can't hear. We only capable to hear what we are programmed to. This is what we can capable to hear. That's why we're helpless. That's why we need always someone to move us, to shake us.
That's what the teacher is for, and that's what the group is for, really.
Yes, both ways. Yeah. We need a teacher, we need a group. Serious group. Yeah.
Yeah, just sitting in the room, being aware of how much everybody's earned and how serious they are, to be in that company. I mean, on one level, you could say it's an honor, and it is, but to be in that company, the energy of that, it's like so much teamwork.
Yes. Yes.
It's almost
Yeah.
like one focused laser beam of like
Yeah.
consciousness, intention,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, motivation, focus, whatever the word that you want to
Yeah.
use is.
Exactly. Yeah. We need all that. We need every quality to move this way.
Yeah, because the oldness is so rigidified and calcified, and it's just
Yeah.
so powerful that we need everything we
Yeah.
can get.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we don't believe that if you tell someone is very unconscious that you can't hear me, they don't believe it because they think they believe it. They just, yeah, they can hear. They are more than that. They have a freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when Sandor was having his connection with you about, it was so sweet. I was like, he finally can hear you after all these years.
Yeah. 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 We need so much patience, unlimited patience to be this way.
It's powerful. I'm trying to really listen more deeply to those words because I know I'm not. My patience is limited, but the idea of unlimited patience is,
Yeah. We need that. It's like we need more to it. It's like just see that any part we are touching is like the part is saying, don't touch me yet, because
Mhm.
you don't know what is going to be revealed. This being revealed through our even sexuality, what we are. It's like the finer we become, it's like we see chemicals being mixed, right? Finer chemicals, where they're coming from, right? It's just like it's a kind of a then you feel like what you are is just really nothing, right?
Yeah. You're just an aspect of this huge universal calm, this creation, this.
Yeah, yeah. And that frees us if we can refine ourselves to see what we actually are.
Yeah, I mean, the best in this moment, the truest thing I can come in contact with is that we're we're an aspect of the universe, and yet we also are the whole universe, which is two different things. We're like, I have a person and certain emotional tendencies and a personality and a story and whatever strengths and weaknesses, and so I'm an aspect of the universe, but inside me is also all of it, like everything. It almost feels like our journey to like realize that this aspect is not everything, that we actually are all, and to let that all back in. And just sort of slowly melt into that beingness, the big beyond beingness.
It's like I know you're talking about the universe, and I'm kind of sitting with the other way around.
Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. It's just like I was just seeing it, like how even if we just begin to see that how we are made of, and then how these energies supporting our creativity or creation.
Mm-hmm.
So slowly, slowly, just if I can see that what I'm made of, what I am made of,
Mm. On a very
right?
like
Like
basic level,
from basic to basic to basic. It's like
almost like sperm, egg, like
much
the
finer.
oh, the actual chemicals themselves, you mean?
And energy,
Mm.
before the energy, raw energy.
Yeah, I see. It's almost like on an individual level, what you come from.
Because even in that, there is no individuality. There is already involvement of the more, much more.
Yeah, that was the first thing I said. You're an aspect of the universe, right? Like you've got certain chemicals in you, certain energy in you.
Mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm,
come from this calm, but you're
mm-hmm,
just one of the millions and millions of things that was created.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Mm. Yeah, it's interesting touching that. It's like the opposite way, and yet it takes you to the same place again of realizing that
Yeah, yeah,
you're no one, and yet you're all the same,
yeah,
but in a different way.
yeah. And finer, finer,
Yeah, yeah.
just move into this, that what I am made of, finer, 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 finer way. And the finer we are, then the more. Because that tiniest little, tiny little bit is everything, right? Individuality is afterwards.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
okay.
The
It's like a
personality,
child. Yeah,
right?
child is born as individual being now, but we are actually not.
Yeah, which is created things from the universal.
Yeah.
You'll like this. I think there was a TV show. I think it was called Nova. Nova was the TV show, which is a word that means new or something. And there was a famous popular scientist named Carl Sagan.
Mm.
And he had a funny voice. He used to say, "We're made of billions and billions of star stuff." He would say star stuff. There's billions and billions of star stuff, and we're sort of made of this star stuff. I think I'm remembering it correctly. I used to love that show when I was a little boy, but it's kind of what you're saying right now. Like we are just that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, the way you're guiding right now, I don't even fully understand, but the way you're looking at it is taking me deeper inside myself.
Because I see that, like the way It's like I'm going to the tiniest, the littlest,
Mhm.
and you are relating
Right.
with this universal way.
And they're like the same. They're really
Yeah.
exactly the same. It's kind of beautiful. There's a thing in, this is reminding me, there's this thing in math called a fractal. And what a fractal is, it's a picture. And if you focus on any part of the picture and look really close at it, the whole picture's there again. And then if you go further, the whole picture, like you go infinitely inward, and every molecule is the whole picture again.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's the best way to describe it.
Mm.
Mm.
And it never ends. Feel buzzing all over my body. And so funny, it makes you feel so small and so big at the same time, like you're nothing, but you're everything actually, because you're connected. You are the same as everything.
Yeah,
So depending on what you define as the word I, you're either the universe or you're nothing at all. And what we're touching now is you're both.
yeah, yeah. Because this way we understand now the individuality is the misunderstanding.
Mm,
We just, if we want to go deeper than our individuality, we can see that. We can see the how the tiniest little this molecule we are, right? Tiniest, tiniest. Further back we go, the tiniest, 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 right? Unlimited way tiny. Like we can't even imagine this tiny, this
mm.
moment, and I see the tiny.
Yeah, particles smaller than electrons, smaller than
Yeah,
protons, and it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
the,
But this does not mean nothing,
correct, right? That's
right?
right. There's still the universal fabric, whatever word you want to call that.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's funny because there's different theories of how they're trying to find out what that smallest particle is. There's names for it: Higgs boson, string theory. There's all these physics terms. The scientists trying to find what's smaller than that. Smaller than that. No, 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 smaller than that. They want to get to that. They want to come home. It's really
hmm
what they want to do. They want to know. They want to come home to what they are.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's what I just see that even this moment. For example, I'm not scientist. I'm not educated, well-educated person or anything like that. I'm not intelligent person according to the world. And even this moment, it's just like so far in this tiniest, so knowing this tiniest, right?
Yeah. And it's like the tinier you go, the less you exist.
Yeah, yeah.
You just
And
become.
more you are.
Yes, 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 yes. Crazy. Yes,
Because
exactly.
otherwise, I want to be scientist. I have to study. I have to study
Yeah,
all the books
yeah,
and all that.
yeah.
It's
You
just like,
got it. You got it. You don't have to
yeah,
study anything.
yeah.
That's yeah, amazing.
It's like everything, everything, everything. It's like all I see is like it's like it's like we don't need to deny anything.
Yeah,
We don't need to deny the scientists. We don't need to deny the the medical. We don't need to deny this, even Ayurvedic or anything. We don't need to deny a saint. We don't need to deny a yogi. We don't need to deny anything.
Mhm. Yeah, there's something in everything
Yeah,
for us to open
yeah,
to.
yeah. It makes us tiny.
Mhm.
More we open to, more it
Mhm.
makes us little, tiny, 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 tiny.
Mhm. In a way, like, it's on a personal level. Sometimes it's harder in a strange way, even though it's bigger, like because people in your life you don't like, or somebody you're mad at, or maybe somebody with a political belief that really triggers you. And then you got to open up to yourself too and see why you're being triggered, and open up to their belief because there's something to that, maybe. Like there's something to everything.
Mm-hmm. To everything, to everything.
Right. And of course, I'm thinking politically right now, but it's like if you don't open to the other's beliefs, to the other's point of view, if you open to that other thing and stay open to it, I have a feeling that you will see eventually that it's really the same at the
Yeah,
core.
yeah,
But we
yeah,
don't we're afraid because it's against our beliefs, so
yeah,
we don't digest the big pieces and let them turn into the little pieces and go into the
yeah,
smaller.
yeah. It can be like it's not like all of a sudden you're capable to accept everything
Yeah,
what you're experiencing in your daily life,
yeah.
right? Somebody comes with a strong anger at you, or
Mhm,
it's hard to stay open at that moment, maybe.
mhm,
But this
mhm.
doesn't mean like we cannot accept it. It can
Yeah,
take time. It can take a couple of days for the person, depend where the person is,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
But then slowly, you are able to open into it. That person can open up into yourself, right? But to begin with, we have to let that person come in, which
Yes.
is a hard to accept.
Well, it takes a lot of stepping down from the righteousness,
Mhm,
self-righteousness,
mhm, mhm.
from
Yeah.
the I knownness, letting yourself lose,
Mm.
which is a huge thing I've been seeing in myself lately, that I just want to win, and how that blocks so much of what we're talking about. So much of this fineness gets blocked by wanting to win, or wanting what you want, wanting your way. It's really good to see the flip side of what is possible for us if we do allow. So that's sort of like how much we harm ourselves when we don't let ourselves lose. How my way is really not my way. It's against me. My way is against me.
Yeah, because it's like, because I'm not individual. This is what we are discovering now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Through the sexuality, we're discovering that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. That we are not, I'm not individual being. Smaller I become and more I see I'm part of everything else. We cannot we cannot separate energy from other energies,
Mm. Wow.
right? And because even in this form, it's the same way. It's only the misunderstanding is I'm believing this is me. This is my name is Gurpreet and I am me,
Mm.
right? So the more the belief is I'm shedding, and smaller I become, and more I'm able to relate with this more of me. This is what we are discovering.
Yes,
The
more of me.
finer we are, and the more into it, you
Mhm.
saying the universe.
Yes.
Stars, like you said, it's not, it's like unlimited way.
Mhm.
It's just like so why I think I exist, then if I am so many other beings, and how I can point out to myself, because this is where the mind goes into the confusion. That's why I always said you don't need to understand, you understand itself. It's like understanding comes.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's like when we're moving beyond this mind goes into the confusion.
Mhm.
It says, I was relating with something before, and where is it now? Right?
Mhm.
So this, if you don't try to understand this, and this mind, what trying to understand begins to dissolve into its own beingness. Okay?
Mhm.
And then slowly, what understanding comes is like our beingness capable to understand itself.
Yeah, itself and its place in the bigger beingness, that it is that all this stuff starts to come.
It's like this tiniest, this little tiny, what we are discovering. It's itself is a traveling through the universe after universe, right? Itself.
You said it's
Because it's
traveling through the universe. Say that again.
universe after universe.
Oh, universe after universe.
Yeah.
Mhm. Can you explain that a little more? Do you mean different universes existing at once, or universe and then the same universe gets created and returns and created and returns? Are you seeing it in a certain way?
It's like first we need to understand the unlimitlessness of this universe. It's not one universe, because the mind is already only set up for one universe.
Mhm.
And the tiny little bit is much free from this individual.
Mhm.
Yeah. If the tiny little bit is much free, and then it can travel to universe after universe, or space, or unlimitlessness.
Mhm. Different
Now
planes.
it's free. It's free from this individuality.
Or could you almost say different planes of reality or universe, different
It
realities?
doesn't even need to understand. It's just moving.
Mhm.
It's a speed is mind can't imagine. It's
Yeah, I was
just
about to say can't be measured.
yeah, it cannot be measured. Yeah, that's right.
I like the possibility in that possibility,
Hmm.
like an infinite possibility. It's almost like I can feel the mind sort of going, it's so big now. Like, what do I do? Where do I go? What do I turn my attention to? Because there's just so much everything, this everywhere. It's like mind can't even grasp. And there's also a subtle personal loneliness, personal though, just because it's like you could either, there's so many ways you can be with this concept of oneness or nothingness or fineness. On a personal level, there's nobody to talk to, right? You're alone. On a universal level, you are one. So it's really where you,
Yeah.
I'm aware of both in this moment.
Yeah, yeah. Because you're losing your
Mhm,
personalness
mhm,
consciously, and you feel
mhm.
alone in that level.
A little
But
bit.
the other level is also open to.
Yes, it's
You're
like
not
the,
alone.
mhm. It's almost like I started the open talk today with the oldness and the newness, what you want to relate to.
Hmm.
If they're both there, but where you put your energy and your attention is what's going to be true for you.
It's like the tinier the you are. It's just like, the tiny can take off,
Mm.
right?
Yeah. Thanks for saying that. I'm relating a little bit more to the tinier, 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 almost like the fabric of the fabric of the fabric. Kind of,
Hmm.
it doesn't end. Like it's like you feel you find the smallest particle, you just open up in that particle and it's smaller thing that it's made out of.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And the more you do that, the smaller you become. Of course, the bigger you become.
It's like individuality, everything we get distracted by, we're influenced by, the tiny love that is like it's not influenced by.
It's almost under the
That's
radar. It's like it's too small for the forces to get to. The system can't see you. It's like you're flying under the radar. They can't shoot you down.
yeah. So just see the benefit of just being unfolding our own self.
Yeah, and also what's taking over now is this really beautiful dark silence, like so much stillness and quiet. It's almost like ancient and yet precious and non-existent and yet thick, like all at the same time. It's like the tinier you get, the less noise there is. For an instant there, I almost went beyond words and like dissolved in your eyes. And something got whoa, shaky, and I pulled back. But it's the first time I felt the invitation to really go beyond, like really, really. Beyond any explanation.
It's like this tiniest little bit is so freely, so complete its own ways. It doesn't even need anything. It doesn't even need light. It doesn't need a darkness. It's like it's just beyond in the light and the darkness. Because years ago, I used to experience it's like whenever I used to go into this light energy, and then I really understood how we are being, how we are just coming from this light, this energy light. I was really understanding. Then I said, okay, I want to move beyond. And now I see that how this is like, it's like a beyond means I needed to include that that light, that energy, where I was understanding from how we just being, how this just is a creative, it's a creating us. It's just it's, and at the same time it's living in us. It's just like a guiding us. It's like energizing us, and everything it's just doing itself. It's like, and now I see that, like in that moment, and I was saying it, I want to move beyond that light. But in order to move beyond, I needed to include that light. So now I really, really understand this, how important this including is. Because if I don't include, I get lost.
And it's like the minute you exclude, There's duality. There's me
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
thing I'm excluding, and I can't become finer in that.
yeah, yeah.
Because if you become finer, you become bigger, but you can't become bigger because you built a wall.
That's a beautiful way to explain. Yeah.
Mm. So we really do. Our path is inviting everything, everything, opening to everything.
Mm.
And of course, to bring it back to the human level, one of the biggest things we open to is our resistance to opening with kindness, with gentleness, with as isness. And that shows us what our blocks are and
Mm.
shows us what we need to open in more. That's where that infinite patience you talked about comes in. It's so important,
Mhm.
so valuable, that
Yeah,
gentleness,
yeah, yeah.
the patience and
It's
gentleness.
exactly. It's like anything. We just infinite way we are. Like, I said endless way we are. Same thing. We go to the other way around. Same way.
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
It's like, for example, we talked about unlimited way being patient.
Mhm, mhm.
It's like patience is like a quality. The one one that's earning this patience, but unlimited way. Sorry. But this unlimitlessness itself becomes person's quality.
Mm,
It's like already in that unlimited way.
mm. So the unlimitedness
Yeah,
itself starts to become a quality.
it's not even about the quality anymore. It's about the
Right.
way the person has earned the unlimitlessness.
Yeah.
It's
So whether it's
crossed
patient,
all the limitations and all that.
whether it's in the patience unlimited or the kindness or the gentleness or the opening, it becomes the
Yeah,
unlimitedness, the
yeah,
quality of the quality.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
that's really big. It's really
Mm.
small and really big.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I just love it. The every sitting in person satsang, the
Mm,
way we are so together, each time there is a beyondness to something. And such a relating, connecting way as awareness is it's just amazing. It's just moving amazingly, everyone.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty incredible.
yeah. So even that way, the people's patience being rewarded.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Wow.
good. Every talk, we don't know whichever way it's gonna go, and when to just
I just do the same thing every time. I write down my 20 questions and I get to one of them and then throw the 19 in the garbage and oh well.
yeah.
Beautiful talk.
It's, these talks are excuse in a way. It's like even being together is our excuse to, is we're thinking we're together. But what is being evolved is just priceless.
Yeah. It's like almost on the one hand, you're just opening to what is. On the other hand, you're just making this beautiful painting, this tapestry of just ever expanding
Ever
discovery
expanding. Yes, yes,
forever.
yes,
It's like a forever picture on a
yeah,
frame that has no dimensions. It's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah.
New colors that have never been seen before. It's
Yeah, 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 yeah,
blessings for
yeah.
sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us.